What's going on, my PT peeps? One Eye Bri back to talk about The Walking Dead Season 8 and do a discussion about Glenn's death still haunting Daryl and how it will affect him in Season 8. Spoiler warning for comments that Robert Kirkman and Norman Reedus said about Daryl for Season 8, but it's not a big deal. If you're up to date on the show, it's just stuff that makes sense, but I want to give the general spoiler warning for those who don't want to know. But for those who want to know and want to discuss it, let's talk about it. Here we go. First, I want to give a shout out to Daryl Dixon _1982 on Instagram. Give him a follow. He's a follower of mine and he asked for a shout out. So there you go. So Glenn Rhee, let's talk about him a little bit. Yes, I miss him too. The show is not the same without him. It's just never be the same when you lose characters like that. And we have to go forward with our lives, I know. But Glenn Rhee was and really is a main character that'll always be very important to the show. And now he's gone. So let's talk about his death affecting the living on the show, and mainly Daryl Dixon. But for much of Season 7, the guilt of getting Glenn killed as his pregnant wife looked on weighed heavily on the little Dixon brother. Rolling into Season 8, writer and creator of the AMC series Robert Kirkman claims this will still be the case. That will be a plot point for Daryl at some point in the next season, Kirkman said at the Television Critics Association Summer Press Tour. It's something that will be addressed. So obviously it still bothers Daryl, and it should, right? So let's recap just for those who might not know, or let's just talk about it a little bit. So basically, Negan killed Abraham. He showed Rosita the bat. Rosita didn't look at it, pissed Daryl off, and really, I guess Rosita's partially to blame, and Daryl. I mean, whether you believe it or not, it just is. They're getting a little flack for it or not. If you're a Daryl supporter, not going to open that debate. But Daryl punches Negan in the face. He does not kill Daryl, obviously, because you can't get rid of Daryl on the show for a variety of reasons. But he kills Glenn. Daryl looks on, has this terrible, sad face, and he has to live with the guilt the rest of his life. You're not just going to get over that, quickly, if you ever will, But the interview continues. Previously, the moment was addressed when Daryl approached Maggie late in Season 7, revealing his heavy guilt for the first time. Maggie, however, insisted he need not carry such pain over the situation and attempted to remove the blame from him. Apparently, it wasn't enough. I think it weighs heavily on him, Norman Reedus had previously told comicbook.com. I don't know that anybody in that group blames him for anything, but he blames himself more than anything. It really brings him down to a certain level where whatever shitty thing is thrown at him, he is just going to take it. So he was dealing with the consequences of what it was, but, it weighs heavily on him. And that sucks because Daryl is a lovable guy. He's a good character. He brings a lot to the show, but it shows his humanity. It shows his morality of things. He feels blame because of it. Because I know if I was in Daryl's shoes, you would want to beat up Negan. You would want to kill Negan. You're not just going to stand there for it. But if your actions caused other people to die or get injured, you're going to feel bad from that. If you're alive, if you're dead, you're not going to care. But it was a touching moment here in Season 7 when, Daryl broke down and talked to Maggie about it. And then Maggie's like, look, Glenn wouldn't want that. It's not your fault. Don't blame yourself. Basically blame Negan for it because, you can blame the writers, you can blame Kirkman, you can blame that. But Negan's ultimately the one that did it. But, Maggie was being there for Daryl, and it was a nice touching moment. But Glenn's death will haunt Daryl and probably Rick as well because he couldn't save him. And that's something to be said about a character when your death lives on in the series. Not just Season 8, but probably for the rest of the series. There should be little callbacks, little things to Glenn every season, Abe included, and I guess anyone that's been on the show previously, even Dale, Andrea, people that they lost. I love the callbacks, the connections from previous seasons, cast members to come around to keep it fresh in your mind. Like, oh yeah, remember that? And Glenn's one of those that you want to continue to see, especially with Maggie's baby hopefully being born this season in Season 8, maybe Season 9. But I like the connection with previous cast members to the relevant seasons of today. Like, we have to have the callback and or flashback or whatever you want to call it to Glenn when Maggie's eventually going to have the baby. That would make the most sense. Anyway, they can sneak a little thing in there too, or a quote or a line like they did with Tara and Heath with Glenn. I like that. I like that connection there too. As for Daryl, you got to feel bad for the guy. He's been through a lot, but that's the character. He's a broken man for sure, but we'll see. So what do you think of it? What do you think of Glenn haunting Daryl this season, and I guess down the road as well, the entire series? Glenn is missed. R.I.P. Glenn Rhee. You're gone but not forgotten. You're fighting alongside these guys in the war, that's for sure. And obviously Daryl is haunted by Glenn's death, but I'm interested to see what Lauren Cohan says about how Glenn is not there and how it affects Maggie and eventually the baby. So hopefully we'll hear that article coming up. But here's comicbook.com if you want to check out that article for the rest of it. I highlighted a lot of it, but if you're interested in that, and for anyone who's interested in my books, Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, online retailers. Fight for Us, The Beginning, and Reunited. That's books 1 and 2 of the series. It's going to be a multi-book series, that's for sure. There's just the first 2 books available now. Here's the third one. That's the cover. I'm working on that right now. About half the book is done. Then we got to edit it and take some time. So that's book 3. Check me out on Instagram at the PT channel and Twitter. We post stuff there all the time. Give us a follow. Everyone's welcome to join the Walking Dead community page and group on Facebook. We got a page and a group. Everyone's welcome. And as always, guys, hit that subscribe button. Help us achieve our goal of 100,000 subscribers. Join our team, Team PT. Stay in the know by subscribing. You guys are awesome, and thank you for watching.